The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Contiengecy Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
So, everyone, welcome to our All Yoda Fan Club podcast, because we all love the little green guy, just like the rest of the universe does after all the most recent books, right?
Around the surviving Jedi, a perimeter make.
Okay.
That's the last good thing he had.
Yoda's really taken a beating lately.
He has. Poor little guy.
With Master and Apprentice, which we're going to discuss today, and Dooku Jedi Lost, and other media.
It's kind of sad because I've been rewatching Star Wars, and it just reminds me how much I loved Yoda when I was young. I thought he was so amazing and impossible to beat, and so wise. And
well, it's tainted my opinion.
It has.
I kind of look back now. I'm like, oh.
Rewatches like, oh, you're just blind. It wasn't hard at all. You're just blind.
No, I mean, we still love Yoda, but obviously, yeah, it's been a little bit more difficult with all the recent media. And I'm going to give a shout out here, and I didn't tell you about this beforehand, but we'll discuss a little bit here. So, shout out to the Clashing Sabers podcast. They interviewed Claudia Gray. Lindsay and Brandon went ahead and interviewed Claudia Gray here recently, and I think it was their most really recent episode. So if you haven't checked them out, make sure you do. Take a listen. Lindsay was the one who actually helped me get my VIP tickets for next year's celebration. So big thank you to her. She's a good person, and Brandon is a good host as well. But anyway, that conversation was really, really cool. However, they did sort of bring up the whole... kind of glossy a little bit, but the whole not Yoda bashing, but the view that we are getting into Yoda now, because in the original series, Yoda was he was the master, right? Yeah. Go to Luke, go to Dagobah, run to Dagobah, anyway. But now, as we're seeing in some of these pieces of media, it's a different look Yoda. And we'll talk about that here a little bit. But let's Jedi Council real quick. So how's your week been going?
It's been going okay. How about you?
It's fine.
Not fine. Are you still salty about Prime Day?
No, not really. I'm not salty about Prime Day. Yeah, Amazon Prime Day's come and went. Big ups to the man upstairs. No, I didn't get anything. Did you Prime Day?
You just said you got 3 things.
Well, but not anything of any consequence.
Not because of Prime Day.
In years past, I've actually gotten some good deals, but no, I really just, I got a French press.
I didn't try to look very hard, but, on breaks at work, I checked, and it's like, yeah, I can live without this. These aren't even good prices. I don't even want this.
Well, you weren't able to, look forward. They didn't give you an advance sort of, because the year before you could see
you had to pop back on low.
Right, the year before you could see everything a day or two beforehand, and you could watch things and plan out what you wanted. But this year was, unless I missed something, but that was what I saw, and it just didn't really jive.
It seemed like they were too interested in pushing their own devices like the Alexa, and I'm sorry,
yeah, you could have gotten a dot for $22.
Yeah, but. They run Alexa deals so often that just doesn't thrill me.
Well, I have a Dot, and I bought it for cheap, deal, just off Prime, just whatever.
For $30.
And I think I even got it for cheaper than that.
Might have been $25. I can't remember.
Right.
But that $22 didn't excite me.
No, not really.
Didn't make me say, you know what? I need a second Dot.
You don't need a bathroom Dot and a living room Dot, and so the NSA can hear everything you're saying.
Exactly. Shh. And they can talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
All the little dots are like, don't you think it's funny when she...
You remember? I remember. So, the week's been going okay. It's just, work has been just kind of off the chain a bit. So, If I could just take a massive vacation, I'd be pretty happy.
Know the feeling.
So, okay, let's pop out of that. Let's do a little HoloNet. So, as the Darth was not here last week, scheduling conflicts and so forth, I was helping some buddies frame their studio. The cool, super cool guys from the Unexpected Podcast, Talking Tolkien, building a studio, and we went ahead and framed out the entire area on one of the hottest days ever.
Using, of course, the Force to do it.
Yes, the Force was involved in Middle-earth. It's great.
That's right.
The hobbits used the Force.
No, just
cross
the wizard that came by.
Oh, so that's what it's not magic, it's the Force.
Well,
Force fireworks.
You would be looked at as a wizard.
Yeah, I am a space wizard. I didn't think about that because I also recorded an episode, but I talked about that in the Power Half Hour. So, but yeah, no, that was quite a bit of my time, and then just going into work into the madhouse, So anyway,
but you did get to listen to a little bit of Thrawn while you were at work.
Well, and that's what we're getting to. But yeah, no. So Thrawn actually dropped today, as we're recording this on a Tuesday, getting a little bit more of an advanced record this week. I'm going to be busy this coming weekend, so I won't be able to do much else. But yeah, Thrawn came out, the audiobook downloaded. I haven't purchased a physical copy of the book yet, but I will get out there and do that at some point.
You did purchase the first two, correct? Physical copies?
Yep. Oh, no, I don't have physical copies, just audio books. I'm a big supporter of the audio book. It helps you pronounce names. Because what's the corporation in this?
Zerka.
The Zerka Corporation is spelled with like a CZ something. CZ. Yeah, it's spelled really weird. Like some of the names would be tough to pronounce in this book, and it's like Clashing Sabers also did a review of Master and Apprentice a while ago, and I remember them like glossing over some of the names at times. It's like, because they don't listen to the audiobooks; they read the physical books.
So they're guessing.
So I mean, they have a general idea, but there was like one, I don't even remember what it was, but there was one they were like, "Is this how it is?"
I'm guessing it was probably Rahara, wasn't it?
Maybe. But anyway, the audiobook is great for that. Just the only thing, we get some of those great voices. So
yeah, that's the only thing. I can't imagine what Rail would sound like on my own, like I did when I was a kid, imagining all the voices.
Hey, I'm Rail Averos. But I'll tell you what, no spoilers on Thrawn, because I'm not even done with it. Right. I'm only a few chapters in.
You literally can't spoil it.
But I will say that some of the voice work. Sean Connery basically makes an appearance in it's not, but like one of the voices, he does like this Sean Connery-esque Scottish accent. It's hilarious.
Is it for Thrawn?
No, not Thrawn. It was one of the admirals, and he started doing it. And I was like, he's Admiral Connery,
007?
Yeah, Admiral Bond, Admiral Bond. So that was kind of interesting, but that's
Grand Moff Bond,
Grand Moff Moth Bond. But yeah, so it is an interesting. It's been interesting so far. Definitely looking forward to finishing that, but obviously we're not on that yet. And again, I finished maybe like 4 or 5 chapters.
Yeah, I'll be purchasing the 3 credits to start that trilogy as soon as I finish Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah, man, we also got to get you through that too. How far are you?
I'd probably have to check. I can't really describe it without
maybe like
spoiling
half.
Anything. Close, maybe a third. Maybe a third.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But because you were gone, gonna go ahead and shoot you a couple things here that I discussed on the Power Half Hour and just get your opinions of them. So the first thing, Hasbro Black Series Boba Fett, all electronic helmet. You can put it on your head. It's $119.99. What do you think? You gonna get it?
What does it do for $119.99?
Everything.
All the noises.
Bounties. You get live bounties and you can hunt people with it.
Do I get to hear his death scream as he falls into the pit?
I don't know. Apparently, it's rigged for all the electronics and everything. I looked at it a little bit, but I mean, for $120 though,
is it cosplay quality?
cosplay quality is an interesting question.
That's hard to beat because he's one of the most cosplayed characters.
For like a serious, like the 501st, no.
Yeah.
But for like somebody who just goes to cons and wants to have fun, if you can fit it over your head, because we both have pretty big heads. Yeah. You got to get those large hats.
Do they have different sizes of the helmet?
I didn't see that. I don't know. But it would be kind of a
fits
cool.
all.
It would be kind of a cool desk piece or shelf piece, though.
It would be.
Okay. So something from San Diego Comic-Con. The Rise of Kylo Ren. This is coming out in December before Episode 9. It is a 4-issue miniseries comic from Marvel.
Yeah,
written by
over
Charlie
that.
Soule.
I'm excited for that.
That one looks pretty cool.
Because that does have the Knights of Ren as well.
And they're butting it up right against that flipping movie because they don't want us to know.
Yep.
But yeah, the cover was really cool. It had the Knights of Ren on there. Did you notice that none of them had sabers?
Yes. What did they have, though?
Well, just different weapons. A couple of them looked like they had blasters.
I think they had blasters. One had like a mace-looking thing of some kind.
So the one thing that I was thinking about is like, so originally the thought process was the Knights of Ren were potentially apprentices under Luke in the temple. But if they were apprentices, why don't they have sabers? You know what I mean?
Maybe they were, his own little task force from the...
They were the stable boys. They were the stable boys of the temple. I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm glad we have a picture of them. So we'll see a little bit more about that. But I do think that could be a really cool comics. And we're getting a lot of comics this year.
Yeah.
I'm still chugging through Age of Resistance.
What's your opinion of Marvel coming out with so many Star Wars comics?
I'm cool with it. Yeah, the artwork's been really good, and the stuff that I've been reading, the writing's been good, the stories have been good. I have no issue with it.
No,
Marvel's Marvel, man.
Yep.
Marvel's Marvel.
That's what they do.
They recaptured Spider-Man. It's still technically Sony, but there was some deal with that. It's like if they made $1 billion, Marvel can just tell Sony to pound sand or something like that. Wasn't that it?
So what'd you think of the first one real quick, since we didn't talk much on...
All the Spider-Man? Yeah, so that was actually one of my Prime deals. I picked up the first one for like $8 or something like that.
See, you got a Prime deal.
No, sort of. Yeah, I just, I don't care about watching things in continuity, but I did watch the newest Spider-Man in theaters. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but I was like, I'd seen him in the Avengers, but I didn't see Homecoming, and I was like, well, I got to do that. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. It was actually a really, really good movie.
Oh, and by the way, for Phase 4, we get Blade. I'm so excited for Blade, though, because they are saying that Wesley will reprise his role.
I've heard a couple of things about that. I've heard about the potential for a female Blade.
I'd kind of like to see him take over the role of Whistler, honestly. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like
he's not quite old enough
have
for that.
Have his apprentice or something like that. And
he's not quite old enough
to be
like
Whistler. Another daywalker or a vampire or just like a regular person?
Any kid he had would be a daywalker, wouldn't he?
I guess. Did he have kids?
I didn't follow the comics.
I wasn't into the meta of the comics. I just I watched.
Never read a single
the movies. That's all I need. Just that one techno beat, coming in somewhere. Yeah, that should be interesting. Yeah. I've always, I like Blade. We had the video game. For like PS1.
A terrible video
game. Yeah, you'll have that.
Did you ever get into the series that didn't have Wesley Snipes?
Movies or
no, it was a TV series.
TV series. I remember it, and I remember the dude who played him like, seemed to fit the part like looks wise. But I never really watched Blade, it.
But
I mean,
I never got into. I watched maybe one episode. I didn't really give it a chance.
It is what it is. Yeah. So okay, Knights of Ren comic. Next one. So we already know about the visual dictionary that's coming out, but one little piece of news. So the TIE dagger. Have you seen a picture of this?
The TIE dagger. No, I have not.
Let me see if I can. My phone's been doing weird about it.
Interference.
Yeah.
Recording device is so sensitive.
Yeah, it doesn't like having phones around it, but
androids apparently.
Well, just androids. Yeah, apparently. Let me see.
There aren't any droids aren't welcome here.
Okay, here's the picture. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but doesn't it look like wood?
Yeah, but I feel like that design has been made before. That looks familiar.
But listen, it's wood. I mean, is this my analogy I said on the other podcast was so is this like the
It's wood grain vinyl wrap.
So was this like the hipster of the group, stormtrooper with a tweedly mustache saying, "Guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a retro feel tie. It's going to have wood on it. What if it gets shot? Well, ties are pretty sensitive anyway, so you might as well give it that nice aesthetic feel. Isn't that going to be heavier? Don't worry about it. It's going to look super cool. We're going to have a Starbucks in the back.
It's solid teak wood. I'm going to oil it every time I take it out. It's going to be great.
It looks interesting, but it also looks super impractical, if that's what it is.
I really hope it's just a bad design on that picture.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or a vinyl wrap. I'm okay with a vinyl wrap tie.
True enough. Okay.
Weight reduction.
Reduction.
By wrapping something around it.
I guess. Next thing, Kevin Smith. You know who Kevin Smith is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Which Kevin Smith? Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Jeez. So Kevin Smith was invited to the set of episode 9 while filming. Mm-hmm. And he was going around and talking to people and like, hey, what's this? Touch it. And they were all like, just go see JJ. They were actually in the process of filming the final scene. And JJ says, you don't want to see this. It's like, no, trust me, I want to see it. It's like, no, you want to be in the theater. You want to watch it in the theater. That's the way to do it. It's like, no, but I mean, seriously, I want to see it. And like he was talking to people afterwards and they were like, I wish I hadn't seen it. Like, I wish I hadn't even been in it. It's like you get like whoever actors in it. I don't know, but no, I don't even want to act in it because I don't want to see it. But he basically said that it will melt your mind. Now,
in a good way or a bad way?
That's exactly my thought. So it's either going to be like, God, fans are going to be so happy it's just going to melt, or they're going to be super PO'd and they're going to riot in the theaters.
I think we'll have riots regardless. It's the end of one of the biggest franchises, in a way.
Sort of. It's the end of this Skywalker saga. But
I mean, weren't there riots after Revenge of the Sith? Probably.
I don't know about that. You were the chosen one, Anakin. You were my brother. I had the high ground. So
is that how it was in that exact order?
In that exact order.
No pauses.
No pause. Just one run-on sentence, and Anakin just looks at him like, "Oh,
high ground. That's cute.
Cool, bro."
Parkour.
But no, I'm. It could go either way, but I'll tell you what. I trust JJ a lot more than I trusted Rian Johnson. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like
that's not even a compliment, but yeah, I agree.
Well, no, I mean, I don't want to down Rian Johnson because like I get his vision, and like again, we talked about it on our last episode we had together. I said, after doing this past rewatch, I actually really kind of got some things that maybe I just didn't understand at the time. My point of view shifted, maybe. And I can see how building blocks could be placed off of it by JJ. But I trust JJ Abrams. I think he's going to do the fandom proud, and I think that we're going to get answers. I think that we're going to get a satisfactory ending, because if not, there's so much riding on this. Disney Plus, the new series that they're trying to do, the D&D trilogy, the potential for another, an actual Rian Johnson trilogy. That's a big deal for a company as big as Disney to say, what, we're not going to give them at least sort of what they want?
Yeah.
We got to make that money, bro. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see, but I actually have quite a bit of faith in JJ to do it right. But melt your mind. I think he's saying that in a positive way.
That could just be hype for the movie. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Of course it's hype. Of course it's hype. Okay, so one other bit of news. Now, I didn't talk about this because it actually came out today. So the Resistance cartoon series, the first season will be coming out on DVD. Mm-hmm. And the Twitterverse, coincidentally, I actually, for real started the Twitter. So you can at the TC Plan Podcast, and you'll find us there on Twitter. I've been tweeting and twattering and twittering and retweeting tweeting and hearting things.
You don't know what you're doing, do you?
Well, not really. No, it's fine. I kind of know.
I'm retweeting my own tweet about retweeting my own tweet.
You know, I had a Twitter account in, I guess that would have been college when Twitter, maybe somewhere around college. And I just posted song lyrics because I had no idea what to do. But it's like, I like this song lyric. I'm going to Twitter it.
You're like that guy on Facebook that just posts the song he's listening to.
No, I won't.
Google
I
Play.
refuse to post anything on Facebook anymore. It's just not. It's not a happy place. Of course, Twitter cannot be a happy place either. But I just follow all the Star Wars pages and a few of my friends, and that's all I care about. So,
now I just kind of want to post on our Facebook page all the Star Wars music I'm listening to and how it's making me feel.
all that popular. Play that same song. Do, 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 do. Play the Weird Al Star Wars song over and over again. So yeah, you can search us on Twitter. Whatever you do, like it or subscribe to it or Twitter it or
Follow it.
Follow it. Is that what it is? You just
I'm
follow.
I'm just pulling something.
Follow me. Follow me like mindless drones and like my stuff.
Yes, because you Jedi just love your little followers.
Well,
your little Padawans.
Once we get into this book, yeah, kind of. So anyway, DVD. But the thing is, no Blu-ray. So that's been lighting the Twitterverse.
I didn't even know that was a thing anymore to not get a Blu-ray version.
It's uncommon. I remember back
in my day
when we were all going to the store and buying all the VHS tapes because those DVDs were gonna suck, and we had to get all the VHS.
Was such more reliable. It was so much better.
Well, we could record all the TV on a tape if we wanted to. I never did any of that.
You realize that DVD just poor people lost their jobs. You know that one.
They're taking our jobs.
You know that one guy in the library who had to rewind all the VHS tapes that we didn't.
Listen, that's my Star Wars journey, man. I went to the library. I saw the
again and again.
Yeah, the copper. I think they were the copper covered ones or the gold covered ones, probably gold. And I was struck by the cover, and then that's how I got into it, was at the public library because it was free. It was free to rent movies. But yeah, DVDs came out, and then DVDs were like, okay, I guess DVDs are the way to go. And then Blu-rays came out,
scratched, and there was no way to clean them for like 2 years.
and Blu-rays were like $60. Like, well, that's just another fad now. All we do is buy Blu-rays.
And now it's the same price as a DVD was.
Well, same thing with
about $25
cassette tapes. I had my Walkman, and then I had another Walkman because Walkman also made CD players. So I had two Walkmans.
And now you just have a streaming service.
Well, no, I don't.
Oh, you don't
I
stream?
do not stream music because I think that's stupid. You don't actually physically own a copy of that music. I will, and people might criticize me for it, but I will physically go and buy each song that I want.
But isn't it like $1.50 a song now?
$1.29 normally.
It's still $1.29.
Yep.
It was $1.29 when I was a kid.
And it's taxed too. So
so that's $1.50.
Yeah. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I want to have a copy. Obviously, you can't do everything with it because it's not your intellectual property and blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Lars. But anyway, exit. Screw you guys, Napster. But anyway, yeah, I still buy them. I just don't like the streaming services. I mean, I've used like iHeartRadio to discover new music, but I like to own something.
I don't see that.
It's not like I'm buying CDs anymore, going to the old FYE or whatever the one was in town that we had. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, you get your
FYE was that was in Newark, I think.
Well, yeah,
I don't think we had one where we were
typically in the malls.
We had a Jungle something. What was that?
I don't remember.
CD Jungle or something
well,
like that.
there was the head shop down along the square. I don't remember what that one was called, but for those of you who don't know what a head shop is, it's not what you think it is, or maybe it is. No, it was basically the local hippie shop. You know, go buy paraphernalia basically. But they also had
It was hookah stuff.
Whatever. But they also had really, really cool selection of CDs.
Yeah.
And
they had vinyls
and
too.
And they had used CDs, so we could go down and get whatever we wanted for $5 or, basically nothing at the time. I got a lot of CDs down at that place, but that
and Blockbusters.
Those are gone, buddy.
Yep.
Those are gone. Gone, baby, gone forever. And it's sad. It's very sad.
I miss Blockbusters. Even though Netflix is amazing, I still miss the...
Well, I don't miss Blockbuster as much. I miss the 2 family-run movie stores that were in town. Because there was
the one that had the tanning bed.
Well, there was Boxcar Video, which was my favorite, and then there was Classic Family Video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Classic Family. They were both great. Classic Family moved like 4 different locations before they finally just gave up, and Boxcar got bought by the Chamber of Commerce. This is really interesting Star Wars-based news, isn't it, guys? But yeah,
in HoloNet,
yeah, it's relevant too. So yeah, but those days unfortunately are gone, and we are in the digital age.
But that being said, I will always keep a physical copy of every Star Wars movie.
Same.
And every book that I can afford.
Same. I actually need to get an...
now, I do need to repurchase a lot of the Star Wars movies because I've lost a lot of them over the years.
I'm looking for Blu-ray copies of the original series because my original box set, it's DVD, and some of them are getting a little scratched up, so I need to replace.
I'm really hoping that when they come out with the DVD for the 9th, that they... Blu-ray for the 9th, sorry, we were just talking about all that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we get a really cool collection.
Ooh, yeah, like a special
buy that for like $200. I don't care.
Like in a sacred in the sacred textbook.
Yeah.
And just you open it up and it's all the DVDs, Blu-rays. I mean, ultraviolet Blu-ray copies, whatever the hell it is anymore.
Ultraviolet. We're talking about that movie now.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
But no, actually, I'd kind of like to see them do Anakin's lightsaber. Bundled together with the movies in like a box set. That'd be
you want cool. A lightsaber in your movies too?
Yeah.
God, how greedy are you, man?
I'd spend $300 on it. That's not greedy. They'd get their money. But yes, the sacred text or a lightsaber. That's what I want. Because that lightsaber has been through all 3 trilogies, and I think
Why don't you just have one? Like, why haven't you just physically bought one yet? It's probably the same reason I haven't bought just a lightsaber yet.
Because I'm waiting to go to Disney.
Once the Disney checks come in and we get our invite for our exclusive VIP
we
tour.
Get them for free. We're just waiting for them to come in the mail.
Okie dokie, folks. So let's go ahead and pop in and out of that.
All right. Well, we're out of time.
We're out of time. No, we are going into Master and Apprentice. So let's go ahead and get your first impressions of Master and Apprentice. No spoilers. Just what did you think of this book as a whole?
Amazing. Loved it. Really loved it.
Same.
Probably the best Star Wars book experience I've ever had. Truthfully.
Ever?
Yeah. And
ever had?
That's saying something because some of my favorite books growing up were the Obi-Wan Qui-Gon books. I forget the names of them now, but yeah, those were my favorites. So this trumps them. The first couple missions with them, I mean, that... Mm-hmm. Some of the best stories that were ever told. But
it is an epic book for sure. It cements Claudia Gray as one of those. Just
I want a full series from her, a big, massive saga.
She wants to do it too.
I'm talking what we're doing with the podcast. 17 books.
Yeah. Well, we got to wait for Project Luminous. We'll see what that's all about in the coming year. So anyway, quick story about my book. So I was at Celebration.
So fancy.
Yeah, it was.
Elitist.
I know. So I was at Celebration. Obviously, you guys know that. And had my VIP pass, so I was able to get in the floor early. So Del Rey had their booth. And I don't remember if it was all 5 days, but at least several of the days, they were giving out, like, 25, 50 people to get to their booth. Mm-hmm. They'd give you a wristband. And any day, anytime throughout the day after like 11, you can come over and get a special copy of the book. Mm-hmm. So it's a custom cover, and it's basically
beautiful cover.
It's the scene where Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are back to back facing those black troopers, and it's an epic scene in the book, and it's an epic book cover, and like you get. The detail's really, really sweet.
It's immaculate. It really is.
So
we'll post a picture of that on the Facebook page, actually.
So I get in there. It was funny because like the other VIPs, they were like running. I was like, why are you running? Like, what? Why are you running? And
they're running to Dagobah.
Well, they did. They all bolted because I was like, yeah, obviously I'm going too. But
follow the herd.
Well, sort of. So I went and I got up there and they're like, yeah, sure, we got plenty of these. It's like, you guys ran for nothing. This is why we're VIPs, bro. Yeah. So anyway.
Except for the store.
Well, I don't want to talk about the store ever again. So anyway, I get up there, I get my band, I come back. My other buddy got his band a little later, and we got our books. Like, oh, so sweet. And I open it up, and it's signed by Claudia Gray. I didn't know it was signed. Now, granted, it was about $45, so it better be.
It's probably going to be worth way more than that, though.
Maybe, but it is a really cool hardback, and I'm very, very happy to have it. So that's my story, my book. End of podcast.
Yeah. Cool story, bro.
I really, really enjoyed the book as well. I think we got a lot of insight into the relationship between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. We obviously answered the question of why Qui-Gon did not take a seat on the council.
And why Obi-Wan hates flying.
Yes, very good. Very good point. Among other things, and we get a very interesting story and some other characters that I kind of like. So let's go ahead and just do full spoiler. If you haven't read it by now, then you probably should just read it because...
You'll never read it.
No, you will read it. You'll read it now. Unlimited.
Do it.
Okay. So I don't want to like go panel by panel sometimes like we've done in the past, but I do want to hit major points. So we have Obi-Wan, we have Qui-Gon, and we have this conflict. They're not gelling. They're not gelling together. They're
not buddies.
No, well, not really. I mean, they have a respect, but
they've been together a year at this point.
Yeah. And they're on a mission. Those darn Hutts. Mm-hmm. Hutts again.
Old Tath. Is it Tath? I think it's Tath.
You could be right on that.
I'm pretty sure they go to Tath.
So anyway, the mission goes south, and they're stumbling over each other. There was the one scene where Qui-Gon's like, get the door. And so he's
like, at the door, deal with him, and he gets the door instead of the guards.
That was the whole thing. He said, get the door. He wasn't specific. So Obi-Wan like just slashes the door closed. He's like, no, I just wanted you to take care. I think he said, take care of the door. Mm-hmm. And it was like, no, I just wanted you to take care of the guys, not destroy the door. It's like, well, you could have been more specific. And that's
in the middle of a blaster battle and you're arguing over specifics.
Well, Qui-Gon, he's kind of footloose and fancy free. He's more interested in the living force. And Obi-Wan at this point is very textbook. He's very by the book.
He wants regulations and procedures. And
he wants you to specifically
He doesn't want to think.
What
he wants to be able to study something and just go by the book.
Right. So once they get back, at this point, this is when Mace Windu with his awesome audiobook voice.
Luckily, we don't have to hear it often.
It was just odd because it's like Samuel Jackson is very unique, and the voice was kind of like it got a little hillbilly, and it was off.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them to try and recreate his voice, but just make
all these snakes.
Just make a generic voice. Don't go with Southern accent.
It was kind of weird, but anyway, so they invite him to join the Jedi Council because one of them was retiring. Do you remember the Jedi Master was retiring?
I do not. She's becoming a counselor or something, though.
Yeah, I think there was other passions. She was, So anyway, they're probably eviscerating us right now.
Probably.
It's like, it's blah, blah, blah.
If you already know this, why are you listening to this?
Why are your notes not complete? But anyway, so...
Because I drive when I do this.
But so they want to give him and it surprises Qui-Gon because he's already been butting heads with the council. But then a little later, we actually found out that Yoda was against him.
Yeah.
Coming on the council.
He's the only one against him, actually.
But he is going to go with the will of the council. So Yoda, bro.
Could you just go back to the Yoda I remember as a kid? Or maybe I was just naive.
No, you were naive. So anyway, they actually are going to send them on another mission. And part of this is like, think about Qui-Gon's going to think about the council. If he takes a seat, Obi-Wan's going to be reassigned.
Yeah.
And even
he even considers trying to balance being a member of the council and keeping Obi-Wan, but it's very clear that that's nigh impossible.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same token, he's also thinking that Obi-Wan kind of deserves a master that he can gel with.
And this is a somewhat painless way for him to deal with that, because he doesn't want to give up Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And then he doesn't, but he does. Yeah. Like, I think at this point, they're just butting heads. And he's like, I don't think that he can learn from me in that way. And the council even brings that up. It's like, yep, it's one way to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. So, but anyway, they're going to go on a mission, and we get this little piece about Rael Averos. Yeah. This is the first time I heard Rael, and obviously it happened in Dooku. So Rael was Dooku's former Padawan, and he and Qui-Gon were friends.
Pretty close.
They were close at a time.
They were able to bond over just the fact that they both were brought up by Dooku.
Yeah. And so Rael lost his Padawan.
Very tragically.
And this was something that Qui-Gon really has a problem with, and it's really why they're not as close right now as they used to be.
And it's also why he's been where he is the past 8 or 9 years, I believe, at this point.
Yeah. So Rael basically and his Padawan were aboard a ship that was, I think there was a mutiny, right?
Yes.
And the proper protocol was to go to the bridge. Well, he didn't do that. He went to the cargo bay, I think.
Yeah, because he wanted to fight head on.
That's what Qui-Gon thought. Yeah. He's like, well, that's Rael. He wants to fight. He's a fighter. He's an expert, saber, lightsaber combat. He's got all that down. But Qui-Gon believes that the death of his Padawan was Rael's fault. She took a slicer dart, and
she went insane, essentially, and attacked.
Yeah,
Rael.
I mean, it quote reprogrammed her brain. She attacked Rael, and Rael had to kill her.
Which you could debate: did she really have to be killed?
Well, and that's debatable. But again, in this, there's cameras everywhere because they had vids of it. Yeah. But not in Vector Prime, though.
No. Well, that was 20 years ago.
Oh, shit. No, it was 20 years after. I don't know. Anyway.
But still ago.
So Qui-Gon was very disturbed by this video because the whole thing is she kind of comes to, and the look in her eyes he perceives as betrayal.
Yeah.
Sadness and betrayal. It's like, why did you do this? Yeah. Even though she couldn't control herself. But the council absolved him of it.
But also kind of sent him away. Yeah,
well, and that's another part of his character. He was never fully accepted.
No.
He was brought into the life. He was 5, right? So he
very
was
old.
He was
at the
old,
time.
Very old, and he retained his accent, his Rael Avarosian accent.
Remembered his family.
His family. Was very proud of where he came from, and he just stuck out. And Qui-Gon even says a little bit that he was given certain concessions because of it, but he dressed like basically garbage, and he was just different. He was a different thinker than
Although
everyone
you could
else.
say that Dooku is prone to a Padawan like that, because Qui-Gon's the same way.
And see,
he was
that's
never
why,
really accepted either, and that's why they bonded.
And that's why Dooku kind of chose Rail, because he respected or favored that sort of attitude. Mm-hmm. So Rail was sent to Pygel to look over the next queen of Pygel, Fanry, who is 6, I believe, right?
She's 14.
Well, but
she
at
was
the time.
6 at the time.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Math.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So, and he becomes what was his official title? Regent.
He's Lord Regent.
There we go. So, Lord Regent of Pygel, basically ruling a planet.
Yeah, and in a way,
I thought the Jedi weren't supposed to like rule stuff. I mean, I don't know what Rey's doing, but he's ruling it. He's ruling the whole planet.
But he essentially adopts this girl in a way and takes her on as
this is sort of the
replacement apprentice in a way.
This is sort of
something to consider when we get further into this too.
The deviousness of the council, though. He lost his Padawan, and they basically threw him into a position to take care of a young child, which
basically his penance for what he did.
Kind of, but I hate to say it, it didn't end well,
work.
and we'll talk about that as we go along. So let's go ahead and flip to 2 of our other fun friends.
Which
Pax.
Before we talk about them, who's your favorite new character introduced? Because for me, it's Pax and Rahara.
So Pax and Rahara are really cool characters. They are jewel thieves.
Yeah, very unique.
Which is why we like them, because we rob banks for a living.
That's right.
Disney banks.
That's right.
Dun, 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 dun.
We rob them by having them send us checks.
So Pax and Rahara are just skirting around the galaxy, just taking jewels and making money. What was their ship called? Do you remember what it's called? Merrick. The Merrick.
Yeah, the Merrick.
So Pax was raised
by protocol droids.
So
for 20 years aboard a derelict ship that
Yes.
was abandoned. Not abandoned, but everyone else was slaughtered.
They were killed.
Survived.
And he survived. So he has, like an expert Coruscanti accent, and he's very prim and proper, and he's basically a C-3PO.
Pretty much.
Or a B-3PO.
Or a D-3PO.
Or a H-3PO.
And why they do it that way.
There's just a lot of letters. There's an A, B, C-3PO, who knows?
It's protocol.
And Rohara was a former slave to...
Shorka.
Well, it's spelled very weird, but yeah, the Zerka Corporation. And it's a sad state of things, because we've talked about it. It's been in the movies, like when we go to Tatooine with little Annie and his mom. The Republic outlawed slavery,
Oh, crap.
There's slavery all over. And
it's not the Outer Rim. It's everywhere.
Right. And they've even mentioned the Zerka Corporation could be as old as the Republic.
Yeah.
It's been around for a very, very long time. So Pax and Rahara are off in the Merrick, and they're flying around, and they've got some haul. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He's like, I think I found something. It's going to be really cool. He believes that he has found kyber crystals on the moon around Pygel. Pygel is becoming a hotbed, too, because they are potentially in the path of a new hyperspace corridor. Yep. And this is going to bring an isolationistic planet into the galactic fold once more.
Because by tradition, they were always ruled by a monarch.
Correct.
A queen or a king, and they really had nothing to do.
They were xenophobic as well. I mean, in a way. They didn't really interact.
Yeah, and they had nothing to do with the New Republic in any way, shape, or form.
So
they don't want this hyperspace corridor, truthfully.
Well,
in a way they do, in a way they don't.
Yeah. So the Chancellor, who is retiring, a lot of retirements, at the request of Rail, because Rail, basically, they're having issues with the opposition. Yeah. So he knows who can come and help him, and that's Qui-Gon Jinn.
Because he needs a fresh perspective on this. He's a little burnt out after almost a decade.
No, he's burnt out, all right.
Yeah. Death sticks,
man. You want to buy some death sticks? So
yes, I do want to buy
Yes, I want some of those and all the ladies and all the whiskey. So the Chancellor, who's retiring, she doesn't really care about this all that much, but she's like, you guys need to go. Just chill, man. Just take care of it for me, okay?
And by the way, Obi-Wan, your master, He's going on the council.
I'm glad you remember that. Yeah, so she spills the beans. Like Qui-Gon didn't tell him because he's contemplating. And
that's an awkward scene.
Oh,
my God.
it's so bad. And then Obi-Wan basically just avoids him until they're able to go to Pine Jewel.
He just walks out like, you done with me? Okay, bye.
Right. So let's fast forward a little bit. Go for it, man.
The great excuse for Obi-Wan getting to leave is because the Chancellor needs help picking a gift for Yoda.
Yeah.
He's so hard to shop for. Help me, Qui-Gon.
Help me, Qui-Gon. You're my only hope. Let's fast forward to getting to Pine Jewel. Mm-hmm. So Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are on their transport, and Pax and Rahara are off in the cut, just doing their jewel thieving. Yeah.
Looking for that Kyber, baby. Mo Kyber, baby. Mo Kyber, baby.
But is it Kyber? The Kyber that's not Kyber. So anyway.
Yeah, we get a lot of mention of that in this little...
We're going to go over some stuff.
Transition to Pine Jewel.
Right.
Talking about a lot of the...
Correct. We're going to talk exclusively about prophecies here very soon. So that's the biggest thing, and I've got stuff. Anyway,
plenty of notes, I'm sure.
So we get to Pine Jewel, and one of the soul crafts basically was bombed. Mm-hmm. Plasma bombs. And so Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, being the BAs that they are, just suit up and just blast tunic up and just fly towards the plasma with little laser cutters. This is so sci-fi. Like, you have this big thing of plasma and they're just like cutting through it. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, oh no, a secondary explosion. What am I going to do?
A plasma explosion.
Long story short, they are able to save the craft and they realize that it is full of slaves. Mm-hmm. Zerk Corporation uses forced labor. Mm-hmm. This doesn't set well with Qui-Gon.
No. Obi-Wan,
but he's sort of semi-accepting about it because he can't change anything. Obi-Wan obviously has his reservations, but he's sort of ambivalent.
Yeah.
But during this whole exchange, the actual reason that they were saved was because Pax and Rahara, in their sort of camouflage ship, help them out. Mm-hmm. Because Rahara was once a slave, and she feels very strongly about helping.
Yeah.
And this was another thing we glossed over, but when they get to this planet, she realizes it's under the control of Zerk Corporation.
Yeah, and Pax has
he didn't
no
think
idea.
About it.
Of course you don't know. You wouldn't think of that. You wouldn't check.
Right. So it's a tough scenario, but Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan finally do get on the planet. Rail, he's like, hey, man, my best buddy Qui-Gon.
I want that stick.
Why are y'all just wearing tunic, little skin tight suits? Better get some clothes, man. What are you doing?
Hey, you want to go to a bar and know this chick?
Well, that's the other thing. So the character of Rael Averos is on full display. He has liaison. He has
can do literally
relationships. Mm-hmm. He's not celibate.
No.
He has his attachments.
He literally follows none of the Jedi code.
No, not really. He races Varactals. Mm-hmm. He drinks. He
partakes in death sticks and
does things, does other stuff. So it's a stark
gets
contrast.
Into bar fights.
Well, that's true over women. So anyway, we have our introduction of Fanry, who's kind of like
weird anime character.
Yeah, she's just a little kid.
Yeah. They can't even touch the floor with his feet.
Yeah. They did kind of point this out. I just want to point out real quick. So everything in this planet is kind of like a mask. All the ornamentation is like, so there's a table, plain table, but underneath it's like all gilded and it looks super cool. Mm-hmm. She's wearing a plain, like kind of a plain dress or whatever, but underneath it's all this shimmer silk. Mm-hmm. She's got fire red hair, but it's all wrapped up and stuff. Yep. So they hide their opulence. Mm-hmm. It's very strange, but it's also very interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'd flip that table over, just me. I'd take those legs and put them on the other side, but that's just...
There you go. So anyway, we do kind of get into a little bit of the opposition. And the opposition is essentially stage actors. I mean,
it's kind
terrorists, bro.
It's kind of a bad plot point, but it's okay. It's kind of interesting in a way.
Well, it's here,
funny.
It's here or there.
It's funny.
But the opposition essentially was just like pranking you. Mm-hmm. And then they all of a sudden turn
Stop
to
pranking you and almost kill you.
Trying to kill you.
Yeah. Haven't killed anyone yet, but they're getting pretty close.
Right. And there are a couple of instances. So what do we want to point out? Because I'm almost going to like jump to where they finally go to the moon. Did you want to talk about anything in between those times? Anything you wanted to point out at all?
The Varactyl stuff was pretty cool. I think that was before the moon. Obi-Wan getting to ride one for the first time.
The hunt.
Yeah, the hunt.
Yeah, you're correct. The hunt was before that, so it's a rite of passage for the potential queen, and they hunt a droid, and the droid basically goes nuts and tries to kill her.
Which we later find out it's because of stuff. All right. But no, it was kind of cool to see why. First time watching Revenge of the Sith, didn't you kind of wonder why he picks a Varactyl to chase Grievous?
Sure.
It's a cool tie-in.
Cool.
Maybe it's the same for
beast control. Yeah, so no, he
most useless Jedi power.
But he does have an affinity for animals, and you also saw that despite Qui-Gon's nature, he didn't really mount the Varactyl very well, which I thought was kind of funny, a little tidbit. Let's see, what else was in that that I'm forgetting about?
There's a little bit with Pax and Rahara, but I can't really remember what they do.
Well, I mean, there's the mining effort. They do find out that the Kyber that they're looking at is actually not Kyber.
The Kyber that is not Kyber.
I can't remember what that one's called either.
I was just listening to that. The big final 4 or 5 chapters on the way here, and I can't remember it now.
Everybody's yelling at us. But anyway, so they have a bunch of Kyber that's not Kyber, but...
The orange Kyber.
Well, he does have a plan for it, though, and we'll get to it. So anyway, you ready to just jump to the moon?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
ready.
So the opposition is said to be on the moon. Mm-hmm. They're based on the moon, at least. The moon was described as being a small part of the population of Pygel. We also learn, we should mention this too, that the deal for the hyperspace corridor is also a deal between the planet and, everybody involved, the corporation and everything. And
we did gloss over a couple of characters, though. We have Darren.
Who's like the captain of her guard or security.
Yeah. And then we have the Zerka representative, Merrick Call.
Merrick Call, yep.
And then we have the weird...
Minister Call, yeah.
Yeah, Minister. And then we have the weird... she's not Chancellor, but what would you call her? The other assistant.
The supervisor?
Yeah, supervisor... What's her name?
We're really good at names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have some Zerka reps in there as well. I gotta look up some of these names. I should have written them down, but anyway, the characters I don't want to really gloss over them. But are they of super?
They're not super important.
I know
Darren is, but we'll get to that later.
Merrick is
a plot point.
Well, the issue with it is when you get involved with the Zerka Corporation, they're always attempting to recruit you. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember there was the one part where she was like, well, you do really good in like our ads.
Yeah.
It's like, she's going to be a queen.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about? Orith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Minister
Orith, Merrick Call was the supervisor. And then
captain of the Queen's Guard.
Yeah, and then the Queen's Guard. We in Game of Thrones.
I think it was just kidding. No, I think it was Queen's Guard.
And then Halen Azaka, who is the leader of the opposition. Yeah. I had to look up that name as well. So let's just go to the moon. Fly me to the moon.
Dark side of the moon.
Well, I've become comfortably numb. So anyway. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan do finally figure out Pax and Rahara, who they are and how to find them.
And Pax was going to try and fight Obi-Wan.
Well, that was good, but Pax has some really unique features in his ship. They're able not to cloak, but they're able to confuse sensors. But they were able to figure it out, find him, and then that was the whole thing when they come up. It's like, I'll fight you. It's like, that's a shovel. I have a lightsaber. Rahara is a lot more accepting, but the point of
she's just less stupid.
Yeah. But the point of involving these jewel thieves, because they could have had a queen ship or a capital ship or whatever they were calling them, bring them up. But in order to deal potentially with these rebels, it's better to come in less official capacity.
Yep.
So our heroes get on the moon and they're attacked by the blackguards. And
most epic part of the book.
Well, the thing is that, these are nothing. We're going to take them down. And as soon as Qui-Gon goes to hit one of them with his lightsaber, it bounces off. So our guards here have personal shields, and they are amped. They are amped up, and they can't pass the saber through them. Yeah. So they're effectively at a standstill because the lightsaber becomes a defensive weapon. They have no offense. They don't have blasters.
And they really get into the details of how they're able to deflect these blaster bolts and kind of just how long you can keep that up before you tire.
Well, and that's one of the things that Qui-Gon's inner monologue saying. It's like a Jedi can deflect blaster bolts for a while, but eventually one mistake and you're done. Yeah. And say like Obi-Wan falls and it's Qui-Gon, he's going to go down pretty quick after that. Right. There's an infinite, there's an short amount. There's a window of time, finite.
Unless you're Yoda in the home screen of Revenge of the Sith with the loop, and he just keeps doing it
ever and ever.
You watch that for a little longer than you should have.
Yeah,
first time.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of that. Yeah. So they're under attack. Obi-Wan falls in a sinkhole. Qui-Gon has to save him. Yeah. But they are then saved by, come to find out, the opposition.
We're being framed.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So Azaka basically tells the quote story of what had happened.
Did you kind of guess that before it happened?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was, yeah, I could totally get that.
Didn't surprise me.
No, not really. But so Halen Azaka and her friends are performance artists. They were into protest art, I guess. They are opposed to this deal, this treaty, because essentially it keeps Zerk Corporation in power
forever.
Literally forever.
Yeah. They can never be kicked off this planet.
And it's a point of contention and a point of language in the contract that, to an outsider, they're saying, well, that's just ceremonial language. It's like, no, what that means on this planet is it's forever and you can't amend it out. You can renew contracts, but you can't kick them out. Yeah. And come to find out who helped write it, Merritt Call.
But who's supporting it?
Real Ambrose. Yeah, and he does, and we'll get to that here in a second. So anyway, Qui-Gon is skeptical. Obi-Wan is far more skeptical. But he listens. He this is part of who he is. Oh, one other thing I wanted to bring up. I just popped into my head. So there was one point where Qui-Gon in the battle, he had to cut down a tree. And then he said like a silent, I'm sorry or whatever to the tree. Yeah. And then there was another one where like he uses a tree to like help Obi-Wan up or whatever. And then he gives it a silent thanks. He's like, thanks, tree. You're real good. Yeah, you're a real good tree. I really like you, tree.
Take you home, put you in my room with all my other collectibles, tree.
He does have collectibles.
He does.
So anyway,
he has a tea set, bro.
He does.
Pretty cool.
Darn tea sets. So after the explanation, Qui-Gon starts to understand. He's like, black guards shooting at us with these crazy shields. You guys are just a bunch of artists. There's something more to this. Yeah. So they return to the planet, and he basically tries to confront Rael. And to his somewhat surprise, Rael he wants nothing of it. Yeah. His entire mind is focused around getting Fanry to become queen. Whatever he thinks is best for her, and he's just deflecting blame.
It's his obsession, essentially.
Right. And it's really too bad because they start to fracture here. Mm-hmm. But then I want to start talking about some of the epicness. Yeah. Because Qui-Gon Jinn has a vision. Mm-hmm. He has two visions. And his visions are centered around the chalice, which is essentially their ceremonial room or whatever for the coronation or something. And he hears screams. He sees blood. He sees terrible, dark things.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's all shrouded. He doesn't have a perfect view of it, but he gets a little bit more of the whole story as time goes on.
Now, he does visit the chalice, and he realizes that in his vision, it was all the exact detail. Yeah. He's seen this before. He tries to explain this to Rael and the minister and Merrick and everything, and they're just like...
And the Jedi Council.
Well, that's a little bit later, but because he didn't want to tell the Jedi Council at all.
First.
But Rael's like, he's having I should have never shown you those prophecies, and guess what? We glossed over that, but it's here now. Mm-hmm. Who showed Qui-Gon anything about prophecies? Oh, Rael Averroes. So I want to continue this, and then I want to specifically talk the previous timeline as well in its entirety. So Rael, again, having none of it. They actually have a cool little sparring session, too.
And they have some really good dialogue between them with this as well.
Right.
And I should have, I'm going to go ahead and look up that quote while we keep talking about it. Because
for sure.
It's probably the best line
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about, but look it up, get it right. So we're at a difficult time here, and Obi-Wan, he's a Padawan, he's young. He's kind of at odds with some things in his own path. So where does he go? To seek the guidance of the council. Mm-hmm. And the unfortunate thing is that Qui-Gon wanted to keep his visions a secret. He didn't want to involve the council here. He's now of the opinion that we cannot support this treaty. The slavery is wrong. Zerko Corporation is trying to benefit themselves. They're trying to disenfranchise 30% of the population, which is what the moon holds. Yeah. And, there's
essentially second-class citizens, unfortunately.
Right, and there's a conspiracy. These black guards, the frame job of the opposition. Something's not right here, and Rael is blinded by his, love of Fanry. So the council,
gotta love that council.
Well, this is the interesting part. So first and foremost, Obi-Wan starts to see the bickering that Qui-Gon has always been talking about. He's starting to finally see I don't want to say politicking, but just the back and forth. They have to deliberate so much without coming to any sort of conclusions. And finally, when he says, What can I do? What do I do? Or what are you going to do? He says, we're going to tell you what you have to do, which is heavy. Yeah. The council is basically, and I don't know if you notice this, they treat Obi-Wan not really like a Padawan.
Yeah, like he's almost already a knight.
Like he's a knight.
Yeah.
And a few times people slip that, and it's like two Jedi Knights. It's like, well, no, Obi-Wan's not a Jedi Knight. He's a Padawan still.
He wasn't a knight until Anakin came along.
Right. So it's a fascinating thing, but they do treat him like a much older individual. Man, the council, though. And then Qui-Gon has a conversation, and he's basically trying to tell him, it's like, I can't support this. Yeah. I cannot support this. And Yoda,
which is
looking to rule, you want the Jedi, basically the Jedi to rule here and do whatever we want. It's like, and that's where I think he's missed the point. He's not saying the Jedi have to rule. But he is saying that we have to stand up for the weak. Yeah. We can't just let a bad deal happen because you want a hyperspace corridor.
And unfortunately, Yoda is only interested in what will help the Republic and the democracy and all the bureaucrats of the...
I think there's more...
He's not worried about the living force. He's not worried about
Now this
protecting the innocent, unfortunately.
I think it's harsh, but like that is Qui-Gon's view here. He has basically stated he's also made his decision. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to be on this council. He made his decision finally. He says they're not concerned with the living force. Yeah. They're not concerned with my visions. They're of a point now where they can't believe in the pure vision from the force. Yes. So this is and it shocked him. Yeah. This revolution.
Never realized
this revelation.
And at this point, he has felt the closest he ever has to the force. He is so in tune with the force at this point. And he can't imagine these Jedi Masters that he held in such regard that were above him and up on these pillars to be so blind to the living force. They should be the most in tune. Master Yoda should be he should be the pure avatar of the light side of the force. Yeah. That's always what he's been depicted as, and he's blind. And he's becoming more blind every day.
Yoda can be very wise. I do think that they have lapsed into complacency.
I believe Yoda can be wise based on what he's experienced in life, but as far as...
He's got a lot of life.
Yes, but as far as following the will of the Force, I think he gets a little... He's very confident in his own beliefs and opinions, and he doesn't respect the Force in the way he should as Grand Master.
I believe he understood that in the original series, though. Yeah. I think, though, that at this point, I think they're all blind to what the will of the Force is, and that's evident when they can no longer basically see it and use it as well. So
do we want to talk about probably the best quote of the book now, or save that for later?
Go for it. You've got the quote, Okay.
So we have this...
Like I said, I think I know what it is already.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Type in that password.
So we have a pretty good sparring match with Rael and Qui-Gon, and...
Do it.
Quite a bit of bickering back and forth at this point. They're not seeing eye to eye in any way.
Yep.
They get into this argument, and I don't remember exactly what Rael says before this, but this is probably one of the best quotes in Star Wars, and it just cements why Qui-Gon, to me, is one of the most pure Force users there is, and his wisdom is lost on the Council. Mm-hmm. It matters which side we choose. Even if there will never be more light than darkness, even if there can be no more joy in the galaxy than there is pain, for every action we undertake, for every word we speak, for every life we touch, it matters. I don't turn towards the light because it means someday I'll win some sort of cosmic game. I turn toward it because it is the light.
Yep. Yeah, probably one of the most powerful quotes. And it's so mind-blowing that someone can be that in tune.
Yeah. And I believe the visions did change him in such a profound way.
I want to get through the rest of the book, but we're going to talk visions here and we're going to talk prophecies here afterwards. So let's pop through to the coronation. What do you think? Coronation? Halen Azaka turns herself in before the coronation.
She does.
She surrenders.
We have some problems with Pax and Rahara before the coronation as well.
Was that before the coronation?
I believe it was.
Or was it after the... I thought that was after
this.
Before. Okay.
Because Pax is going after her as the coronation's going on.
Okay. So, yeah, we should talk about that. Unfortunately, Rahara was recaptured by Zerka Corporation. Yep. And
what we find out is actually Zerka... They keep a file of every...
Hollow file, yeah.
Every single species, every person they've ever enslaved, and that includes their children, which is what we find out. Rahara is a child of a slave.
Yeah. So
she was born into this.
Right. So she, unfortunately, is recaptured. Pax goes nuts. We could tell a little cute thing about the gloves. Like he gives her the gift of the gloves because like when she freed herself, basically she cut out the implant in her hand, and it's always been tender. So he gets him these really nice, super cool gloves, and she's very touched by that, right?
Yeah.
And when she's taken and he, they down her craft that she was flying around in, he finds one of the gloves. And, but he goes nuts because he loves her. They both have, it's more than friends.
Yeah.
They've been around the horn a little bit. So let's talk the coronation. So beforehand, Fanry's getting her little crown and everything, whatever. Averos wants to talk to her, but he doesn't really get to because he can't see her beforehand and all that good stuff. I always had a strange suspicion about Fanry and Katie, her handmaiden.
Yeah, she was referenced a little bit too much for a side role character.
I had a lot of suspicions about her the entire time, but we get to the coronation. Qui-Gon's sitting there, and effectively he's just waiting.
And at this point, he is very suspicious of the
Darren.
captain there.
Yes. So basically, she gets coronated, and
stabs the guy that,
Well, there's a little stabby, and Darren is in league with her.
Yeah.
Puts
As
on
well as
puts on
Katie.
his shield. Qui-Gon is basically, I couldn't even imagine this because, I've had instances of deja vu. I've actually had a couple that have freaked me out.
Yeah, it gets to you.
like I think I'm going to die, freak me out. Okay, so there's something weird happening here.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn has had these two intense visions, and now it's all coming to fruition. It's like he now is saying, who's going to die?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Because I saw blood, I saw screaming, I heard screaming. There's something bad happening. Well,
And by the way, just how much that tears at you kind of gives you a little insight of what happened to Sifo Dyas.
true, very true.
Why he lost his mind in the end.
Yep, exactly. So Rael's basically beside himself because again,
even the way he stands
Fanry,
up to interact is I can't imagine this is happening.
right? Yeah. So Fanry basically says, now Darren, everybody's going nuts, and we figured out that Fanry, Katie, and Darren were basically in this whole thing. She doesn't want to sign the treaty.
No.
She wants to retain her power in her monarchy and get rid of the evil Zerka Corporation.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
Yeah.
You do it.
But unfortunately, she also
She's a little violent.
wants to kill a lot of people in the process. And
Well, she had the quote. It's
Rael
like
is one of them.
Well, she has a quote where it's like, "I've seen the price of peace. I want war."
Yeah.
And even her co-conspirators. So let's not get ahead. So Darren basically turns on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And he's gonna kill him. Yeah. Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber, and
Something
it's
weird happens.
orange.
There's a shield around them, by the way. Let's just not jump past that.
Yeah, no, I said
Qui-Gon
that.
tries to protect him, but he
Right.
learns that it's the same shield that the Blackguard use.
Correct. Yeah. So I said he has it. So he has the shield. So Obi-Wan just has his lightsaber. He's like, he's gonna kill Obi, man. But Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber and it's orange. And as he's slashing down, it goes through the shield. Mm-hmm. The Kyber that is not Kyber. It had been replaced. Mm-hmm. So in really a mistake, because Obi-Wan had shown
Fanry how to disassemble
and basically how it worked. So they attempted to switch out the crystal, thinking it wouldn't work, but it did. So it's not a Kyber crystal, but it worked, and it went through the shield and killed Darren.
Yeah.
Fatality.
Flawless victory.
But Fanry does wind up getting away. She wants to take a ship and essentially bombard one of the main Zerka vessels, which is also like their flying office.
Yeah. But also slave quarters and everything. It's really messed up. Well,
there is a rescue mission. Pax and Obi-Wan do make it into that ship. They do find Rahara. This is also...
And they have a slave revolt.
True. This is also one of the parts where we figure out why Obi-Wan doesn't like to fly, because in the beginning of the book, he loves it. But
he's actually a very good pilot as well.
Yes, he basically puts the ship he's flying into one of the corridors in the ship, and it just freaks him out.
And Qui-Gon's like, "Good job, buddy. That was great. I'm never flying again." "Oh, you'll get used to it." "No, I'm never flying again."
"No, it'll be great. You love it." So Fanry goes nuts, right? She even turns on Katie, her co-conspirator. Well, Katie turns on her, turns a blaster on her. It's like, because she didn't want to, what was it? She didn't want to let people out of that, the chalice or whatever. There's something about that, but
I believe she also turns on her because at one point she was a slave to Zerka, and she's willing to kill all the slaves.
Well, I mean, there's a portion where she wasn't saving some of the slaves, but yes, Katie is a slave.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why, obviously Katie wanted to revolt, because no slaves, and that thought Fanry was on board. Basically, she wasn't.
She's just using her, just as she was using everybody.
Correct. So anyway, this Fanry's rebellion is kind of quelled relatively quickly. Yeah. There's not much more to it.
She got about 2 hours.
Rail is, he's not in a good way, man.
Mm-hmm.
And
there is a little speech between Fanry and Rail. They're on a comm link, and basically she says, "You never did anything for me. It was all for..." What was his apprentice's name? Ben or something like that. But basically, it's you talked at me instead of teaching me. You argued with me instead of listening to me. You never let me grow as a person. You just want control. And Qui-Gon feels it in the Force. Rail realizes a terrible mistake he's made.
Right. And this, unfortunately, is down to the Council. They put him in this position.
Yeah.
And he basically became obsessed with this young girl and essentially took her as a surrogate replacement.
And truthfully, when you think about it, isn't that kind of the worst thing you could do to someone who had gone through what he had gone through?
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah. So we do get some time with Qui-Gon and the Council. Mm-hmm. He does turn it down. They're like, "Oh, we'll talk about it later." It's like, no, I've realized I have to take a different path. I've got to, get more in tune with the Force. Mm-hmm. The Council is not going to help me do that. So he straight up turns it down.
Yeah.
And
the Council, even at this point, after it's proven that his vision was accurate, there's a few Council members who are trying to say, and I believe Mace Windu was one of them, "Oh, well, your gift of insight would be very helpful for the Council."
Yeah, they're opportunistic about it.
Now you want to use my gift.
Yeah, now they want him on there. So we still have the continued adventures of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. They're not breaking up. Rail, there was kind of the ending of the book where. So part of this was Qui-Gon and Rail had been attempting to contact Dooku throughout the book at certain times when they were uncertain, and they couldn't.
And at this point, all they know that he's done is obviously he's left the Council at this point, and he is the Count of Sereno.
So Dooku does reach out to Rail, and he's like, have you thought about my proposal? And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go back to Coruscant. I don't know what they're going to do with me, but that's what I'm going to do." So Dooku propositioned him.
Yeah.
I think he was looking for his apprentice. Like his true dark apprentice here.
This will have been right before Asajj. So.
Yeah. And he turns him down, which is probably better for him. But it's interesting that he didn't reach out to Qui-Gon still. And I think the only reason he didn't is because he realized that Qui-Gon would never say yes. Yeah. But Rail might.
Yeah.
Let's button hook back and let's talk the what do I want to call these? The old time chapters for old time's sake. So we do have some flashback chapters. We have Qui-Gon first meeting Rael, who was like a kind of like a big brother. He's like, kid, I'll help you out understanding Dooku.
And why he's such a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, he can be kind of a jerk, but honestly, he's a really good guy. I've liked him pretty well. I'll teach you how to take care of it all. It'll be great. We can even spar sometime. It'll be super fun, and we'll do fun things and get popsicles.
Dad, my new dad.
Well, Qui-Gon was really encouraged by that because he's like, finally, like a friend who can help me out. Because like he was having trouble too.
Yeah, and at this point, him and Dooku weren't really meshing all that well. I mean, they were cordial and there was respect there, but they weren't.
He was kind of scared of him.
Yeah, he was scared of him the first day he was his apprentice. He was terrified, and Dooku calls him out on it. And he's like, very wise of you. And you showed that you're honest today.
Very true.
He gained a lot of respect the first day with Dooku.
Exactly. So then next we kind of get into Rael was the one who introduced Qui-Gon to the prophecies. And this is very important. So Dooku at this point was not studying the prophecies.
He was back out.
And he wasn't going to have Qui-Gon do it either. But Qui-Gon was writing his little school book report, and he was like, hey, man, maybe you could do it. Maybe you could do it on this. It'll be super cool and fun. We can go get popsicles afterwards.
Hey, we're still going to do that sparring match, okay?
Yeah. So Qui-Gon kind of becomes mini-obsessed, but he doesn't tell Dooku until one day he's in Dooku's quarters, and Dooku walks in on him with a lady. No, with a prophecy, with a holocron. And it was funny because, like, when Rael first showed him the holocrons, I remember, like, reading is like he was very struck by him. It was almost like they were calling to him. And Dooku was not happy about this.
No, he straight up told him that he is not to study them ever again.
However, later, he walks into Dooku's apartment or
dining room. Yeah.
And
they have dinner together.
He's got a holocron.
Super fancy.
And he doesn't look at Qui-Gon this entire time. It's almost back to the obsession. He said, well, because Qui-Gon said, I won't look at these, while I'm your Padawan. Basically, he's like so you'll do
will
it
as
after.
soon as you're, yeah.
So then Dooku basically says, well, we can do it, but under my guidance, under the guidance of somebody who can do it, take you through them right way. So they go through them pretty heavy. The old obsession becomes renewed, and then Qui-Gon's obsession even becomes renewed. Although, they do kind of come to the similar conclusion. It's like, we can't take these things literally. They were 10,000 years ago. Because there was even the part about, there was the one prophecy that sort of kind of related to Qui-Gon. I actually had all the prophecies pulled up here. We'll read through them all here in a second. But anyway, so that's kind of where we leave that. However, there was one other chapter where Qui-Gon and Dooku are out on a mission to capture Bounty Hunter, who likes to just kill everybody of all ages.
Yeah,
she wants to get one for
every age. And I think
up
she's
to
up to like 200.
Yeah.
Or she's at like 170 or something. But she's had a 13-year-old.
Right.
She's had a 15-year-old.
And a 4-day-old or something.
4-day-old.
She was sick.
But not a 14-year-old.
No.
And how old is Qui-Gon?
17.
That's right. So they go get ice cream.
Popsicles.
So, no, that's Rael Avro.
Qui-Gon is taken unaware by the bounty hunter. She's got a blaster on him, and he doesn't think that just using his natural Jedi power...
He doesn't have the reflexes and speed.
Right. So he's trying to stall her until Dooku can get there. And Dooku...
comes out of the woods and just...
And force lightnings. Now, they don't specifically say this, but they make the sound in the audiobook, and it's implied that it's force lightning.
He doesn't see anything.
He doesn't see it, but...
He can smell it in the air. He can feel the dark side around him.
And he sees what happened to the bounty hunter. She's cowering. And he basically stands over, not to protect Dooku, but to protect her potentially from Dooku.
Because Dooku is going to kill her at this point.
And he's trying to ward him off. He's like, We got her.
Yeah.
I'm fine. We're good. And it's a tough thing, and he tries to talk to Rael about it. He's like, oh, it wasn't what you thought it was,
There was no
Dooku's
force
cool.
lightning. Let's go get some popsicles. Come
on. It's really tough, but Dooku at that point, they're very close.
Yeah.
And Dooku was a heck of a master, Jedi master, and he forged bonds with people, but he could also be terrifying.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of that. So I want to get off the story here a little bit. I'm sure everybody's just going, oh, what about this piece of the story? Let's talk prophecies. I'm going to read through some of these. She who will be born to darkness will give birth to darkness. Who do you think that's related to? Leia.
Yes, of course, Leia.
I mean,
it could be, really.
I mean, but people have said Shmi. I thought it was Leia, born of darkness.
I don't think Shmi was born of darkness.
Well,
though.
we don't know.
True.
I mean, there's theories that she was actually created by darkness and then gave birth to whatever. But anyway, it could. I personally thought
Leia makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, because she was born to Padme, who was basically semi-killed by Anakin, who was dark, and then she gave birth to Ben, who turns out to be, Ben Solo and Kylo and around. But hey,
Jason?
Yeah, that's wrong universe. Then the next one. When the Kyber that is not Kyber shines forth, the time of prophecy will be at hand.
Which is pretty clear what that means.
Or is it?
I don't think we really need to go over that.
Or is
it's very clear. Darren getting slashed up is the start of the prophecy.
When the righteous lose the light, evil once again shall return.
The council.
It happened right under their nose.
Yep.
Old Papa Palpatine. One will ascend to the highest of the Jedi despite the foreboding of those who would serve him. One will ascend to the highest of the Jedi despite the foreboding of those who would serve him. The problem with that is serve him. Because Anakin was not a master.
No.
He was not
Got
a
him.
master. Got him. That could be a lot. The highest of the Jedi, though.
Grandmaster.
Well,
obviously.
not necessarily. I mean, when you think about just the highest, over the Jedi, maybe that's more in reference to a Palpatine, because he did ascend to the highest rank, and technically the Chancellor kind of is over the quote, not technically over the Jedi, but they
At
take
that
cues.
Era, yeah.
Of course, they didn't really have any foreboding about him until the end, because they were blind. All right, next one. Only through sacrifice of many Jedi will the Order cleanse the sin done to the nameless. The danger of the past is not past, but sleeps in an egg. When the egg cracks, it will threaten the galaxy entire. These are several kind of interlaced because they were on the same page. And when the Force itself sickens, past and future must split to combine. And a chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored. So obviously the most important one of those is about the egg, because we're all in an egg and eggs.
Yeah.
The chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him ultimate balance in the Force will be restored, which is absolutely true. Anakin did bring balance to the Force, no matter how much people hate that. He did. He did it. He balanced it all. 2 and 2.
He balanced it over his head and then threw it into a reactor pit.
Yeah, exactly. He who learns to conquer death will, through his greatest student, live again. And this one, I feel, is more current. He who learns to conquer death will, through his greatest student, live again. Now, this could be two things. He who has technically conquered death. Well, Qui-Gon kind of did. He was the first Force Ghost.
I would
through
argue
his
that
greatest student.
Could be Obi-Wan, though.
Could be Obi-Wan.
Because...
Or
Darth Vader killing him, releasing him from life, allowed him to conquer death as a ghost.
Or it could be more current. Because we have a certain cackler coming around in episode 9, and maybe his greatest student is actually Rey. Because she's the enemy. I don't know. That's an interesting. It depends on a lot of things, but he who learns to conquer death will, through his greatest student, live again.
Was that written before Disney took over or after?
This is in this book.
Okay.
These are
because there were already prophecies before Disney's takeover.
No,
of course.
These were all just specific to the book. God, there's so much in there,
man. The detail of this book and the way it interlaces all these stories together.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, man.
It's just really the perfect bridge between the prequels and the original trilogy. It truly is.
Yeah, I really had a lot of fun with this book. I've listened to it several times. There's a lot in it that just makes me very happy. But one thing I do want to bring up, I think we've talked about this before, but one thing I do want to bring up here just to kind of close us down here is a question.
I already know what the question is.
Knowing what we know from this book, let's flash forward to episode 1. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I already know what this question is.
So during the fight with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan get separated in that little laser thing fields.
The doors.
Yeah, the laser
stupid doors.
Laser doors of reality, bro. Qui-Gon starts to meditate.
It's just to regain his strength because he's tired.
Well, we know that Sifo Dyas had a ton of visions, which ultimately drove him insane. So is this a thing where once the floodgates are open, all hell breaks loose, or do you control him? Sifo didn't. But I have a feeling that Qui-Gon knew he had a vision of his own death. Mm-hmm. And I think he had more visions than what we are privy to. Mm-hmm. And I think in that moment, he knew what was going to happen.
I think he knew what was going to happen far beyond his death as well.
Yes. And I think that he made peace with his death because he knew how to, quote, technically conquer death and come back. I haven't had a lot of people be real receptive to that, to be honest with you.
I don't really see why you couldn't. It makes perfect sense.
Well, it just all depends on your point of view. But I've had a lot of people that, well, that's kind of cool, but not really. I don't think that's how it happened. Me, I wholeheartedly believe that's how he knew.
I do as well.
He knew at that point, and that's just through reading this book and just learning more about his past. Mm-hmm. So. What else you got to talk about? We've been going for a little while, so anything else you want to point out about the book or anything you liked, disliked?
Anything I liked. I mean, this was the perfect. I mean, they did Qui-Gon so well. Mm-hmm. I mean, truthfully, this is the book that we've been waiting for since we were children. Since the first time we watched episode 1. I really
did enjoy the book immensely. I love Qui-Gon. I love Obi-Wan. I think it was really was great, and I'm looking forward to more of what Claudia Gray has to put out. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to figuring out what Project Luminous is, and I'm looking forward to continued books and movies and all the stuff we have to digest this year because we've got a lot.
Yes, we do. One more little tidbit about the book we didn't talk about. The final chapter. Very small, but, the inner monologue of Obi-Wan and his reluctance to take on this little brat, chosen one,
Yeah, you do have
and the sorrow he's feeling right now after losing Qui-Gon.
Right.
Very heavy chapter, very well written chapter.
Yeah, and we do kind of have a little bit of like sort of almost POV from Padme at the end there. You know, after Qui-Gon had died, and you know, there's little Annie and Obi-Wan standing with him at this point. So yeah, that was a really good tie-in. I really did like that too. Well, I think we have exhausted our time for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You know, we sometimes can be a little bit chaotic with our thought processes and
what's notes.
Well, I like to do these things free form because sometimes it can bring up a lot better points and everything. But again, hopefully you enjoyed that. So
if you haven't read this book, you're doing yourself such a disservice. I mean, you need to read this book. If not, read it. Go on Audible.
Listen to it.
Get your free trial if you don't have it. Pick this as your free book.
Promo code TC. No, we don't have a promo code.
I wish. But no, truthfully, this will go down as my favorite Star Wars book.
That's a big statement.
By far.
Yep. It'd be really hard for me to nail down my favorite, but it's definitely up there. Okie dokie, folks. Well, make sure you check us out on the new Twitter, TC Plan Podcast, @ however you look at it.
Hashtag.
It's a pound sign.
Hashtag.
Pound hash. A pound of hash. That's,
Pound of corned beef hashtag.
Obviously, check us out on Facebook, anywhere you get podcasts, which you're probably already there because you're listening.
Wherever you're listening to this right now
is where you can find it. And Patreon. We do have a Patreon account. Just, patreon.com/Contiengecy Plan Podcast.
Give us some monies.
That's horrible. I'm cutting that. No, I'm not. But no, I mean, if you would like to support the podcast, that's a good place to do it. Anything that we get just goes right back in. And we have our Dinner with the Patron series there where we just eat some food, have random conversations.
We don't have dinner with you. We don't invite anyone over.
Well, I mean, with you in quotation marks. Like,
we sit here with our holocron of prophecies and we kind of talk, but we're really focusing
with
on that.
burgers,
and
tacos,
burgers and prophecies, bro.
There's a new podcast, Burgers and Prophecies, where we review burgers and prophecies. It'll be fun. So
what's this chosen one crap about? Hey, you know that new Burger King burger? Ooh,
the upside down burger. Yeah, got it. All right, folks. Well,
the sand burger.
Shut your mouth. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us for another episode. We greatly appreciate it. And you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.